Hi everyone, I'm Galen Hare, partner at Insurance Claim HQ, powered by Hare Shannara Trial Attorneys. If you're watching this video right now, one of two things has happened. You're either snooping around on the internet for information about mediations, in which case welcome, or you're one of our family members, one of our clients, that has a mediation coming up. Either way, congratulations. If you are getting ready for your mediation, I want you to understand that this is an important and necessary step in the process. And I want you to just take a second and realize that you've made it this far. It means that you've made it past making your claim, past any initial denials, past getting a lawsuit filed, past having that lawsuit dismissed at early stages. Whatever has happened, you have gotten to this point, and you need to acknowledge for a second that you've made it this far. Your case might be over after this mediation, or it might not. But either way, getting here, you should be proud of yourself. So let's talk about mediations and what you need to know. What do you wear? Lots of people ask me, how should I show up to a mediation? You do not need to look like a lawyer. I want them to get to know you. I want them to know who you are. And by them, I'm talking about the mediator, but we'll get into that later. But I want them to know who you are as a person, as a human, your job. I do not want you showing up in a three-piece suit with a fancy tie, with an expensive watch and a million fancy rings. If that's not who you are, don't do it. Now, if that's how you dress every day around the house, I guess go for it, right? But you're fine in whatever you normally wear. Now, I don't want you showing up in a t-shirt that says, F you pay me. That would be kind of the wrong thing to transmit to the other side, but you can wear whatever your normal work clothes are. If you're normally really, really grungy, because let's say you're in a job where you're having to constantly get dirty, then I would say just wear a pair of slacks and a polo. If you don't have a pair of slacks, wear a nice pair of jeans and a polo. Either way, you'll be okay as long as you just dress authentically who you are. If you have any concerns about what you're gonna wear, snap a picture of it, text it to your case manager and attorney through the case management system. They'll let you know. But again, you'll probably be fine. The next thing people ask is, what should I bring? Or they don't ask what they should bring. Let's talk about that. If you have given us all the information we've requested, then it is in your case management system, our case management system under your file, and we have it all. So we've reviewed it, we have access to it, and we'll have access to it at the mediation. So you do not need to bring stacks and stacks of papers. And please, 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 you should not be showing up with a bunch of new stuff. Because if you've given us what we've asked for when we asked for it, you shouldn't be showing up with a bunch of new documents. But there are some things that you do want to really consider bringing that aren't really relevant to your case. Bring a book. Why? There's a lot of downtime, Sometimes it feels like the mediator is out of the room for an hour. And some of our attorneys don't have their stand-up routines down pat, so you might get a little bored, okay? So bring something to do, a tablet. If you like playing games on your phone or whatever, that's cool. Bring a book, something to keep yourself busy, because there will be downtime. And sometimes there will even be downtime away from your lawyer because the mediator might want to meet with the lawyers privately. So keep yourself busy. Phone charger is a big must. It is a bummer when you get to mediation and your phone's dying and you want to check in with your family or do things. Try to bring a phone charger. You just don't know how long you're going to be stuck in that room. So I would definitely bring a phone charger with you. Okay, so those are kind of the mechanics of what you need to bring with you and what you need to have. The next question is, how do I win at mediation? I get this all the time. How do I win at mediation? You don't. No one wins at a mediation. A mediation by definition is a compromise. In this case, this is either a court-ordered mediation or it's a voluntary mediation, but either way, I promise you're not going to win. You might get an amount of money that you're happy about, but no one wins at a mediation. They reach an agreement, okay? In fact, some people say the hallmark of a great settlement is both parties feel a little screwed. Now, that's not our goal, is to have you leaving feeling a little screwed, okay? But lots of lawyers will tell you that, and the mediator will probably tell you that too. Both parties aren't going to be happy with the settlement. If you're not happy, they're probably not happy either. You probably felt like you took less than you should have, and they probably feel like they paid more than they should have. That is how you know that the parties have reached an actual compromise. So you're not going to win. But here's what you are going to do. And this is going to make your mediation successful if it can be successful. You are going to start thinking, and you're going to start getting comfortable with this process of moving from what am I entitled to what am I willing to accept? What do I need? It's a different thought process. When we file your lawsuit and when we send our demand, we're talking about what you're entitled to, what your best day in court is if we knock it out of the park. In a mediation, the numbers you're going to start considering are what you need, what you will take. I don't want you to be reactive with this at all. I want you to think about this. I don't want you to immediately call your attorney, call our office and say, here's what I'm taking. But I just want you to start settling in to this idea of, okay, I might be entitled to this much money, but what is it that I would take if this just ends the entire process here? I want you to get ready for that. We'll have that conversation with you before the mediation, and we'll have that conversation with you many times during the mediation. That'll be an ongoing process, and that number might move for you. It might go up, it might go down. It's going to be an ongoing process, but I want you to get comfortable with that now because I don't want you to be surprised during the mediation when your attorney, the person who's had your back the entire time and has told you exactly what you're entitled to and you're ready to go and you're ready to fight, your attorney starts saying, okay, but would you accept this instead? They're not betraying you. They're trying to find out if a settlement can be reached in this mediation today, because at the end of the day, trial carries a lot of risks and it's not ideal for everyone. It might be good for your case. It might not be. We'll have that discussion with you, but you have to start getting ready in order to succeed at mediation with thinking not what do I get, what should I get, versus what will I take. It's a different analysis, and I just want you to kind of be ready for that. Finally, well, almost finally, I want you to keep an open mind. This can be a frustrating process. You're going to hear things during this mediation that you're probably not going to like. The other side's going to send messages in, either directly or through another party, about why they think they're going to beat you. And we're probably going to send some messages to the other side about why we think we're going to beat them. That is not fun to hear. It's easy to get reactive, defensive, and emotional, but those are closed off things that prevent you from having a meaningful discussion. Sometimes they're intended to upset you and frustrate you. The way you quote unquote win at a mediation is by not reacting to those and continuing down the path that you were already headed down, which is trying to see if we can get them to a number that ultimately you are willing to take. So keep an open mind, listen, and certainly consider those thought processes. But at the end of the day, I don't want you to be reactive, emotional. I've had clients say, they hear something they don't like and they say, we're shutting it down and we're leaving. We're not gonna do that. We'll leave when we've decided that the mediation doesn't make sense to participate in anymore because they will never pay what you will take. But we're not gonna react emotionally to a comment we don't like, right? So just keep an open mind as much as possible. All right, so the actual final thing I want to cover is the mechanics of a mediation. We've talked a lot about all these different things, but no one has explained what actually happens. So a mediation usually consists of three key players. There's you and your attorney, that's one party. There's the insurance company and their attorney, that's the other party. And then there's the mediator. So mediations these days, they happen electronically, they happen virtually, they happen personally. So I'm going to give you kind of the standard situation, but do understand that your particular mediation might divert from that a little bit. So usually you and your attorney will be in a room somewhere in a building, usually like a building designed for mediations, but it could be a law office, okay? You'll be in one room, that'll be your room. You'll have relative privacy in that room. The other side will have their own room. It might be a representative from the insurance company and their attorney. Sometimes it's just their attorney and the representative's like on the phone or Zoom. It just kind of depends on the carrier. And then there will be a mediator. And so first of all, the insurance company has their own room with their own privacy. And then the mediator goes back and forth. The mediator gets no privacy at the end of the day, but the mediator gets to meet with each of you privately, okay? The mediator will deliver messages back and forth. Not just like a messenger. They're not just going in and saying, well, they said blah, blah, blah. They'll have a discussion with you. So they might come in and they might say, Galen, the insurance company says that your case is weak because of these three issues. And I might then respond and say, well, mediator, I disagree, and here's blah, blah, blah. And I'll lower my offer by a tiny bit, but when you go back, I want you to raise these 2 or 3 issues with them about the weakness of their case. That's kind of the pattern it takes. Every mediator is different. Some mediators will just walk in and say, they offered X dollars and walk out, right? Others want to have a long discussion and they won't even talk money until there's been a couple of back and forths. Every mediator kind of chooses their own pace and their own style, but ultimately what's going on is the mediator is going back and forth, delivering messages and providing analysis, providing thoughts on the case, with the goal of seeing if the parties who are here can eventually meet somewhere. That might be in the middle, it might be more to one side than the other, but the mediator is just trying to push these people that start here together. And if the mediator can get them together, we have a successful mediation. If the mediator can't get them there, we have an unsuccessful mediation. If your mediation succeeds, from there your case will essentially be over. There may be some other things to wrap up, and we've got other videos and we'll talk to you about what that looks like. If your mediation is unsuccessful, it does not mean you do not settle. It just means you didn't settle at your mediation. So we'll go through all that for you as well. But again, just to summarize, dress comfortably, be yourself, bring something to keep yourself busy, start thinking about what you will take versus what you want, keep an open mind, and you'll be fine.